10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good dinner time, everyone. Dinner time. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes for this transfer show. It's been the first one in a long time. We've done our little news show clip videos, but we've decided to do a live one so you can all join in. And we're going to try and work out what we think the squad's going to be by the start of the season. So we've got a lot to go through. We'll quickly jump in the chat because it seems to be lit, which is what we like to hear. Jan says ASM off to Saudi Arabia for 120 million cash offer. It could happen. There's the link if you'd like to become a member tonight. It costs 99p, 1.99, 2.99 or 4.99. Option is yours. You get entered into a prize draw every month. And tomorrow I'll be doing the prize for the Peter Beardsley signed photograph. It's a great photograph, so please consider becoming a member so you have a chance of winning it. Evening, everyone. Hit the thumbs up, consider subscribing and share to your socials. Hi, Baz. Hope you're well. Straight in. What's up with Pith buying all these clubs and Saudi and players? And now today, World of Golf. We'll come up to that. The golf breaking news is amazing for us, by the way, because that's going to stop all this sports washing crap aimed at Newcastle because, you know, golf had a big problem and now they're joining forces. So Saudi Arabia can't be that bad, can it? Evening all from Roger. Evening people from Steve. I personally want ASM to stay and hopefully become a legend. Oh, John, it's a tough one. Good evening, Baz, Gary, and everyone in the chat. And Nick is also in the background ready to come on once we fly through these. Is Morrow going to be gutted? Yes, he is. I think so. Now I'm in the cash in now. Him now camp. Buy better like Diaby or someone interesting. I'll happily replace ASM with someone who can offer more. I agree. All right, ladies and jelly spoons. Evening, Mick. Evening, all, says Leslie. He's been good for the club, but ambitions change and players have to either change with the times and move on. He's not going to be happy. A bit part player. He could be number one in another. Exactly. That's how I see it, to be honest with you. Hello, Alan. Glad you're having fun out there. You've seen any transfer updates that you can tell us about? We've got a little bit of news. Don't worry. Ari Baz, Ari Roger. Hello, mate. Hello, Paul. Hi, Les. Ari Baz and Chatters. Harry Mark. Glad you're here. Is St. Maximin leaving? We're going to talk about it. Is there any news on Garen Kalu's next loan move? There isn't yet, but Gary wants him to go to Sunderland. Boo. Evening, Baz and all chat. Maxi offers something different. He does, but when you only start 11 games and you're only available for, what was it, 18, 19, it's not good enough. I'll eat sis. Much better, thanks, Les and Mark, bro. Brilliant. Right, we're up to speed. How are you doing, guys?
Hi, not bad. Is all right?
Yeah, good. Tired, but we're getting there. Coming off nights and trying to get back on a day shift schedule. It does my bloody head in. Right, before we get started on the football chat, this is about to be given away. It's the Nick Pope The Wall t-shirt. It's done through Twitter, so if you've followed the tweet, you're in the draw. There's not too many, so someone's going to be very lucky and win a lovely t-shirt. I've got mine getting delivered soon. It's from Dyer Cruise Shop, our new sponsor. They're amazing. Please check out their socials by going into the description below and finding them, and check out some of the clobber. It's great stuff. They play on music titles and album covers and things like that in a Newcastle way. So it's amazing stuff. So I'll add the thing to the screen. All I've got to do is click on it and we'll find out who our winner is. Good luck, everyone. And it is Simon, by the looks of things. Is it going to stop on Simon? It is. Simon Philip Baker. I will contact you on Twitter. You are the winner of the Nick Pope The Wall t-shirt. Well done to you. Glad that's out the way with. I hate doing free prizes sometimes. They normally always go wrong. Hi, Richard. Hi, Tommy Thomas Wilson. Hope you're all right, mate. Big up Baz, Gary and Nick, says Leslie. I take Harvey Barnes from Leicester. Managed to pick the grandson up today and kept him coming back to me, having missed his granddad. Oh, that's amazing. I love that. My little girl now is developed a habit of hating me and loving her mum more than me. I'm not happy. I mean, seriously hates me. Like if she cries, I go to pick her up to give her a hug. She'll literally, she's so strong, she'll push herself off me and then run to her mum.
How would you?
1 in 5 months.
Nah, that would change.
It fucking better.
Nah,
I've already got a little boy who's a mummy's boy. I don't want a mummy's girl as well.
Nah, that is good.
I'm hoping so. Right, let's talk about this first of all. PIF have obviously bought 4 teams, but they only own 75% of the stake. There'll be 25% of each of the clubs will be owned by the owner of the club in a way. What this means for us, I mean, it's amazing, to be completely honest with you. Loaning players to them, loaning players from them. Gary, it's a great move, isn't it? For PIF, potentially, but it also helps us.
Good move for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people are saying that we couldn't get Messi. Yeah, we could.
Yeah, exactly.
Not Messi, sorry, Ronaldo.
We could get him as well.
Yeah, we could. There's
Talk straight one about getting all 3 of them. Messi, Ronaldo and Benzema.
You can't.
Ridiculous.
Because you're only allowed 1 or 2 loans from abroad. So you can only get 1 or 2 of them. So that would never happen.
It's not good.
I don't think we'd get any of them. I wouldn't personally, and that sounds daft, I wouldn't want any of them.
We're not going to, but it's just, it's nice to have that option if we wanted to. And I think this is what we're trying to say, is that when PIF bought these clubs, it is, I mean, Newcastle will be the flagship club, won't it, Gary? It will be the club that, you know, everyone's saying this is bad news for Newcastle because they're trying to do this and trying to do that. No, it's not. It's good news for us.
You've got to remember, Newcastle was the first project.
Yeah.
So they needed something to start this whole whatever they're doing in sport and where they want to go, boxing, whatever it is. Obviously, golf now. Newcastle was their first project, and these clubs that they've just purchased in Saudi Arabia, I can see players going on loan there. So there's a player you mentioned before. I can see him going there next season. Duran Kowal. I can see him going on loan next season in Saudi Arabia. I wouldn't be surprised. And they're going to play with potentially in the same league as Benzema, Ronaldo, Conte, Zaha by the looks of it. So there's going to be healthy competition in there, and there's probably going to be better, healthier competition than there was when he was playing in Scotland. So I think it's great, mate. Honestly, I just think it was all the focus was on us, and now it's going on everything else. So I think it's great.
It is. Mark says, where is it? This one there. Do we think PIF will purchase other clubs in Europe and South America? Nick, what's your thoughts on that?
Didn't they try to? Like,
I don't know if they have or haven't, but I think they will.
Wasn't there something? Oh, I can't remember who it was now. Wasn't it a big Italian team? A couple of months ago, they were going after them.
No, could have been.
No,
that was Leeds.
I think they were interested in somebody like AC.
That's who I was thinking, AC Milan.
But they bought us instead.
Oh, was that then? I was thinking that was more recently.
Apparently.
I've got a sneaky fancy they're going to be looking at somebody like Sao Paulo.
Yeah, there was that one. I remember this, instead in Belgium. I remember someone mentioning this to me.
I wouldn't be surprised if they look in Brazil for somebody like Sao Paulo, because apparently Sao Paulo are struggling financially now, apparently. So that would be an option, because obviously we're never going to play Sao Paulo. So
this is it. I mean, he could play a Belgium side, couldn't he, potentially? Which is why I prefer a South American club, like it's mentioned in the chat. Right, Nick, what do you think of the new strip? Apparently, this is it. It was meant to be showcased on Friday at the gig with Sam Fender, but unfortunately, someone at the club left it on the website when they must have been trialing to see how it would look on the website. someone
Aye.
caught on to it and then posted it all over Twitter, as you do. Of course you do.
It always gets leaked somehow, doesn't it?
Exactly. But I feel sorry for the person who's made the mistake at the club, because they're going to be in trouble. But I love it personally. What are your thoughts on it?
I like how the sponsor's black and white instead of like blue. It
Yeah.
blends into the kit more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I love it. Champions League badge on the other arm, Noon on one arm. It's going to be, man, I love it. Gary, do you like it?
The sponsor's going to look a bit different,
Ooh.
potentially, because that is a Photoshop, right?
Mhm.
The strips, I think them pictures were taken a while ago, maybe a month and a half ago.
Mhm.
I think they've been Photoshopped on top. But I think that's the sponsor, but they might look a little bit different to what you see there, potentially.
Mm.
But that, from what I've been told, that is the top. But I like it.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
It's nice. Any black and white top is beautiful, do you know that?
Oh, yes,
One
they
of the
are.
last years was the blue. I wasn't keen on the blue. And, you know, like the blue Castori sign and the blue from 88 and the blue on the back. I don't know, I've got the top, but it just didn't look right for me. That one, completely different.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
I'm
Scotty
a big
loves
fan.
it. Proper Mags kit it is. It reminds me of, someone mentioned it, one of the early 80s kits with Grenfell, wasn't it, was the sponsor?
Yeah.
Looks a bit like that one, doesn't it? Bit of nostalgia for you. I love it. Some more news coming potentially and hopefully very soon. Joelinton wants to extend his contract beyond 2025. It's at the early stages, but after this is a top season for him. He's got into the Brazil squad, which he fully deserves. But we've opened up negotiations to get him to sign a new one alongside Bruno. Miggy signed one recently. This is just great news for the club, isn't it, Gary? Especially a player like him.
Definitely.
And I mean, I moaned about this last night on the group.
Mm.
I'm still gobsmacked that this is broke in Europe and not in the Northeast. Not one local journalist has been anywhere near this.
Yeah.
Not one.
And haven't been near a lot of things, to be fair, though, have they? But we've also said, and you said, through contacts that we know, the club are putting out a lot of names that we smoke screening for our potential names. So it's very interesting. I think a lot of the journalists are starting to get a bit peeved off because they're not getting any information, to be fair.
I mean, for something like that, like a fin of transfer budget, whatever, but for a player contract getting renewed and it's not broke in the UK from the Northeast, I don't know what the bloody hell they're doing. Anyway, it's fantastic move. Give him massive contract, keep him here till whatever age he is, and then he can go and play in Saudi Arabia.
yeah, exactly.
But get the best years out of him here, because he's definitely one of my favourite players.
Definitely.
That's a pathway now.
Yeah, it is.
Our club, stay till we don't want them, then just move on to Saudi and get a bumper wage.
Exactly.
And a bumper price for us.
Aye. Bumper price for us, fee. There you go. Honestly, there's all a long-term plan with AIF, and the more I think about it, the more little things that just come in, just like Nick said. He'll be playing in Saudi Arabia by the time he's 32. But
probably. During
that period, hopefully, I'd be surprised. He's won a trophy for us.
Yeah. I don't think that's a rumour. I think that's actually happening. The planning's been in for ages to extend the ground. The owners have openly talked about it. It's just how they do it. The Strawberry Corner was obviously spoken about, wasn't it? The Gallagher end's going to get extended. It is going to happen, and I believe the plans have already been accepted. It's just waiting for it to be put into place. I don't think it'll happen for this season. I think it'll be for next season, won't it? Unless they start it and then finish it, but then because people are being moved at the moment, aren't they, from the other side because of the Champions League qualification? They're doing new boxes, aren't they?
I think I mean, I remember when they did it years ago, and we didn't have a roof overhead for a while. And yeah, they could potentially do that, but I think you'll hear about that, and I think they'll announce it, and they might speak to the Premier League and go, look, can we have an away game last game of the season, or can we have an away game next season, just so we can fill the stadium a bit. But
Yeah.
I have heard one little nasty rumour, but I don't think it's true. But
Go on, Tally. That's what we're here for.
I heard that if they do get planning permission, like big planning permission, that the stadium potentially might not be being able to be used for a couple of months.
Ooh.
So we need to go somewhere.
Oh, don't even dare say it.
Yeah. And I heard a rumour from somebody that told me that he thinks his club would accept that.
Oh, God.
Because that'll bring money into them as well. But I heard that horrible rumour.
I just can't
be close to me, do you?
Oh, yeah. I can see the seats getting ripped out and everything. Can you imagine War Flags trying to put stuff up in there?
It's only a rumour.
I walk around in Kiawe in a Newcastle top and I get bloody chased off people, honestly. If Newcastle fans had to come to Stadium Light, there'll be like a crew outside waiting.
Yeah.
50,000 Magnums to kick the heads in.
I mean, it'll
be a bloodbath, honestly.
This is nothing legit. This is just
it's just a rumour. Of course it is.
He told me that he'd heard it from a part of their club that they would accept it because it would bring money into them.
Yeah.
They're desperate for money there. Like, they can't even fill up the stadium.
Exactly. And they will accept it, but that's just it. I cannot say that happen. Like I said, it's a stupid rumour.
I love it. Right. Is there any tricks exciting to be a Toon fan? Everything's exciting, isn't it, Jordy, now? It really is. This one, I like this one. Any news on where the new training ground will be located? The rumour is, and I've had this one for a while and always put it out there, is the racecourse, because that's where the Rubens brothers own a lot of the land. And it's big enough to be able to build a 30,000 seat stadium in there as well, because they'll want it for the reserve team, for the ladies team, and they'll want high class facilities. And I think that's where it will be. It's not 100% guaranteed, but that's where I think it's going to end up. And that's just on, knowing who owns it, how big the land is, and how accessible it is. I think you agree with me on that one, don't you, Gary?
I heard Kilmer.
Yeah?
Yeah, I heard that about 7 months ago.
Yeah.
Don't know how true it is. But
well, yeah, this is it. I mean, we don't know 100%, but we can put in a bit of guesswork from what we've heard and the rumour. I mean, I did hear the racecourse a long time ago.
Yeah. Wherever it is, it's going to look spectacular.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can guarantee it'll be one of the best in the world.
It'll probably look better than our stadiums.
Right, probably, yeah. Be more updated, wouldn't it?
Well, exactly. But St James's Park is moving. Right, let's get into it. Let's talk about the big rumour, the big one that splits all the opinions. ASM has put out on his social media as a cryptic message, as always. It sounds like he's going for about 60-70% of the message, and it seems like he's staying for 30-40% of the message. Nick, I'll come to you first. What are your thoughts on the message that he's wrote, and do you think he's going or not?
It does seem like he's going, but I hope that he's doing it just for people. He's trying to get people to show how much they love him. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
I hope he's trying to do that, but I don't think so. I feel like he is going to leave. I'll be devastated when he does. Just know how much I love him. But it's strange, like the message. It seemed more like a goodbye than I'll see you next season.
Yeah, it did to me. Gary, what about you?
Devastating.
I think it's a goodbye message.
Yeah.
I think when Bruno puts tweets out saying how much he loves the fans, he does like a 2-sentence. Why would he write something that probably took him about 25 minutes to think about and write just to stay? I just don't. I mean, I could be wrong, but
he's done weird stuff like this before, hasn't he? Though, where he's
He
put out
has,
like
and
yeah,
he stayed.
cryptic tweets.
But he did it in January when the rumours were around again, didn't he? And we all thought that there was potentially he'd be off in January, but he ended up staying. I think this time we're ready to cash in. I really do.
I think he's hearing rumours, and I think maybe the club have told him that if something does come up, then he'll be allowed to go. And I think he's probably trying to save face a bit by saying what he's saying and
how much he loves the club and all this sort of
I
stuff.
mean, I've no doubt he does. I've never once doubted he does.
Oh, definitely.
I just, I mean, we've spoke about him time and time again. And I hear Longstaff divides the fan base. He divides the fan base.
Yeah.
And
we love Longstaff.
I'm on one of those that, well, me and you are the same, aren't we? We think he should have done. Look, what he did for us was spectacular. Went under Bruce because everybody else was crap. We wouldn't be where we were now without him. But I still think there should have been more from him.
Yep, I
since
agree.
He's been here. He's got the talent. It's just
it's his injury
something
record.
missing.
It's his injury record, and I think he'd like see because under Bruce he was fried as the star, wasn't he? He was the main man, and now he's not. And he doesn't want to be a bit part player. He wants to be the star. So it's crazy one.
I always have this debate, right? Is the four main French wingers we've had. I've always had them at the bottom, right?
Oh, well, you're looking at Ginola, Robert, and Ben Arthur. They're all ahead of him.
Right?
Aye.
Now, I'm not being... Look, the other three were spectacular players, right? Fair enough. But I've always had him at the bottom.
Yeah.
But potentially, he's got the potential to be at the top.
Yeah, he has.
He's there, but...
Yeah. You just don't see enough of him. He's not consistent enough. And he kind of... Yeah, I know he's got his positives, right? But he kind of hits 30 odd as in like Robert could.
Well, exactly. This is what I've always said about ASM. He's someone who can't score from distance.
He tries, but
I don't know. He just doesn't seem to have that knack of being able to bend it in the far corner. He looks like he's going to, but I just don't think he has the power behind it, the width behind it. I don't know.
It's his end product for me. I think he's the build-up.
Taking on, doing all that. He's silky as anyone.
If he could finish like Robert, Ginola, Ben Arthur could, he'd be spectacular.
Yeah.
But it's not in his arsenal. And I don't know. I just, honestly, people love him. I get why people love him. People get frustrated by him. I get that. He's one of those for me.
Yeah.
Should have been better than what he was for me.
There was a rumour Madrid on him, but I don't know who that was from. It was on Twitter. There was one of those ones.
That was a account who just puts stuff out.
You see, you can't. This one gets to me a little bit. Miggy has 25 goal contributions in the whole time here. ASM has 30. Miggy has played another season extra than ASM. But look at how many times ASM has broke 10. He hasn't. Miggy's had a great season, and he's finally found his feet. He's finally found a coach who knows how to play him. For me, I love Miggy. I love Miggy more than a lot of people. But if we were said today, Diaby's coming in to place Miggy, I'll be like, fantastic. Miggy becomes a squad player. Diaby becomes the number one because he's better than Miggy and he's better than ASM.
And ASM's had his time to do that.
I think Miggy would be, but I don't think ASM would be.
Oh, no.
And I think Miggy will always have that smile on his face. You know he'll get game time and you'll always put in 110%. And that's the thing that's difference between Miggy and ASM as well. Miggy has played far more games because he stays fit. And that's the problem with ASM. ASM can't stay fit. So, I mean, and we know Miggy was bad for 4 years because he was. He was bruised.
I mean, look, if you want to go on the ASM and Miggy bandwagon thing, do I think these two are the future of Newcastle in a year's time? No, I don't think both of them. I don't think any of them will be in the starting lineup. They might be come this season, but not next year. them two, one of them will be away, potentially two of them will be away. One could be on the bench, the other one could be away. Times are changing now, and now you go to bigger quality. And when you look at what I'm just going to call him Cover, when you do watch people like Cover do in Napoli, what he does,
and Leao,
he's got
AC Milan,
Leao, Salah, you name it, endless list of what they do. And when the game's 0-0 and it's struggling, like break teams down like Leicester, these are the ones who come up with magic. Ben Arthur did it.
Yeah.
And that's just, at times, what he misses. And I feel like I'm having to go to him because on that Bruce he was the shining light of the whole side. And
but he was a light in a pile of shite, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And he frustrates me, honestly, he does, because I think he should be better than what he is.
Yeah.
I think he should have you're talking about somebody who hasn't had a cap for France. Yeah, there must be something wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't play international football.
If ASM was that good, Man City will be after him. Barcelona will be after him. All the top clubs will be after him. But, today was the first time I've seen Real Madrid say there's an interest, but I don't know how true that is. But if he was that good, all these big teams would be after him, and they're not. So there's obviously something not right there. Do you think Richie and Dummett will leave the club? I think Richie and Dummett will both stay, to be honest with you. I know Dummett will stay because of the rule of having so many players in your squad who were homegrown for Champions League. We need 4. And I think Richie goes into the coaching staff, hopefully, but we're not too sure because he might actually be signing a new contract. So, interesting one. Right, Jean-Claude Tobledo, is that how you pronounce his name?
Taribo, I think.
Taribo, something like that. So. He's the first big rumour that we've had. We think this guy is the smoke screen for Tobledo. How do you pronounce his name? Jean-Claude, I call him. So we were very interested in Kim. There was massive rumours on him. But we've been told that we think we're using him as a smoke screen to make sure we get this man in instead. Now, I would take either one of them, to be honest with you, because they're both fantastic centre-backs. Now, I believe Kim plays left centre-back, though, and he plays right centre-back. So he would be the better option for us because we've got Botman at left centre-back. So the first question is, guys, which one are you taking? Nick first.
How old's that one from Nice?
Young. I can't remember his age, but he's young. And Kim's 26, I think.
I've seen that Kim, but I haven't seen him.
Right.
But with him being a right-sided centre-back for sure, like competition with Shaw, and then you've got 2 young'uns there, him and Botman, do you know what I mean? So I'd probably take him. I'll take your word for it that he's good.
Don't take my word for it. C. Deg says he's been saying it for ages. I would prefer the right centre-back, to be honest with you, just because he fits into the system there. But Kim is quality as well, Gary. Which one would you take?
Kim on ability right now. Because Kim was called the best centre-back in Italy last season.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Now, and there's something not right about this Kim thing. Like, whether it's agent fueled or not, because it's just us and Man United linked constantly, but it's always come from Italy. It's not come from anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to... I think it's agent talk with him. I think the agent's trying to drum a price up, and he's trying to drum a battle up because Newcastle and Man United have shown interest.
Well, there's a release clause, so there's no battle for the... Only battle is his wages. So that'll be for his agent, an agent fee, won't it?
I think... the other lad, has he still got that deal in place with Barcelona, or is that done?
I think that's done.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, though. It'll be interesting if someone...
if he's right-footed, he fits our team better, right? Because Botman is literally one of the futures of this football club, right? So Shaw is somebody who potentially is not going to play every game next season because the amount of injuries he gets and concussions he's not going to be able to. So I'd say probably Taribo fits would better in my starting lineup right now, but I think Kim's fantastic. Mate, I do think Taribo's a cracking defender, but Kim last season, unbelievable. Like, at times, it's an absolute rock at the back.
Yeah.
And ended up winning the title with Napoli. So, what more can you say?
Well, exactly. I mean, it's the first time
take
we've won
it.
it
I'm
in
not
God
gonna
knows
lie.
how long.
I'm not going to lie. Take your pick from me. Like, put their names in
Yeah.
the hat, pick one out, and I'll have that, honestly. I wouldn't be
It was going
disappointed.
to cost more as well.
I'm not too sure on price, but the both. The information I got from the source was we're using Kim as a smokescreen to get to lead Bowen. So that's very interesting. And we do know the club are using social media and outlets to put out false names. Kim reminds me of a young Harry Maguire. That's scary.
He's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Right, the next name on the list is Tinery from Arsenal. We obviously know that there's massive interest in him. A lot of people saying this deal is 90% done. However, this Livramento is popped up from nowhere today from Southampton. Now, Livramento can play either side, so he's a bit more of a versatile player. But I know he's had his few injuries, Tinery, but I would still like to see him sign. I've seen him play for Scotland, and he was fantastic. Gary, what are your thoughts on either Tinery or Livramento?
You know, if Etienne didn't have his injuries, I'd pick him all day, right? I think part of the reason I want Tierney as well is I think he can play right back as well. So
no, both of them can play. Livramento can play right and left as well.
Right.
Yeah.
See, you know the only problem is, I mean, you're probably going to bring names up, so I'm not going to names here. But how many Southampton players do I actually want? You're talking about a team that got relegated here.
I know,
right?
this is what I've been saying.
Players.
Yeah.
So they got relegated for a reason, right? That they weren't good enough. Now, I'm not saying all of them are bad players because they're not. You could go out and get somebody who transforms your side. That happens. Great players have been relegated before. But how many of them do we want?
Yeah.
You don't want many of them. And
no, definitely not. I mean, people are saying Livramento, Lavia, James Ward-Prowse, and there was another one as well. It's like you don't want 4 players from Southampton. Yeah, you don't want 4 players from Southampton.
No, you don't. No. And he is not. He's not the one I would pick out of them 4. So
no, Lavia would be one for me.
I tell you what, if Kieran Tierney can stay fit, right? If you are 1,000,000% confident he will stay fit, I'd go him. That's who I would. He's done it before. He's played for one of the best teams in the world. Played Europe, played Champions League, you name it. And he knows how to get up and down that wing like Kieran Trippier does. So he's proven, isn't he? It's just his bloody injuries. That's his problem. He's had far too many bloody injuries. And I've seen a list of his injuries now, and my God. So
that's not good.
No. I'll tell you what, if you can guarantee me he'll stay fit.
Salisu as well. You know, there's like 5, that's 96 players from a relegated side. Yeah, just don't want to do it. It's not happening.
Definitely take Tierney.
Yeah, I would as well, to be fair. There is obviously Guerrero on a free as well. I mean, Fencenende, that we were linked with in January, he's got a £20 million clause, apparently. That's another one.
Actually, Arsenal are supposedly talking to him right now. If they buy him, they can guarantee Tierney's leaving.
Yeah.
If Tierney's leaving them.
Honestly, I think he's almost a done deal. I really do. I think he's very close.
Probably be the first sign of the summer. Like first serious signing.
Yeah.
I think this is like a case of they're waiting for the window to open. I think there might be an agreement in place. And Arsenal are just trying to find maybe it is Fresnel. They're trying to find a replacement before they release him. I think he wants to go because I don't think he wants to play behind Zinchenko. So
Yeah.
And I think he's
And
going to have been guaranteed first team football here. They will have said to him, yeah, we're left back.
Yeah.
Because they're not going into next season with Dan Burn, right?
No.
He'll cover, he'll do this, he'll do that, he'll play the odd game, but he's not going to be. Well, he's not going to play Inter Milan at home in the Champions League. They're not going to put Dan Burn at left back.
No, they're not.
So
Definitely not.
that's what I believe anyway.
Yeah.
So
probably do a job though.
He would, I mean, he's done a job all season, but we want.
Of course you
someone
want
to
that.
do
Why?
a
Of
job.
course
We
you want
want.
that.
Do you know what
I
I mean?
want Dan Burn.
Oh, definitely.
I want Dan Burn back at centre back where he was bloody born to be. And unfortunately, Target hasn't stepped up. That's why.
He did all right against
Dan
Chelsea, but I mean, Dan Burn stepped up though, didn't he? And then kept Target out. But again, that just shows you the levels where our left backs are at, and we want someone who can bomb forward and get back and do everything brilliantly. And that's the level that we're going to, isn't it?
The good thing is that if Botman's knackered after playing a Wednesday game, we can afford to rest Botman because we can bring Dan Burn in. And that's the difference now. Is we've got good replacements. And I just, you cannot have Kieran Trippier running up and down that wing like he does. And Dan Burn's done it. Like, he tries his best, but we need something similar to Trippier going up and down. It'll cause chaos when you've got two going at the same time because it's a different option.
Yeah.
And I think this here into anything. I think probably Champions League swayed it for us as well. Because I know he's been linked with Villa, but I think maybe Champions League just edged it for us.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
See what happens.
I think one deal, Nick, that's cooled off is James Ward-Prowse. There's no rush over his future. Apparently, West Ham and Spurs all keen on his signature. I personally think we've moved on from him now. We've got Champions League football. Would you agree or disagree?
I'd agree. There's plenty more. Like, I've got free agent listed here on a page, and the amount of like good free agent centre mids that we can get better than James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You know
again,
what I mean?
though, depends
How
on
many
the price,
free
doesn't
agent
it?
players can you sign? Like,
As many as you want.
Many as you want.
So we should just go nuts. And now you need to keep. Life, but
FFP, signing on fees, wages.
why
You got to think about all that. But again, there are a lot of free agents. We spoke about it on another show, didn't we? When we did a free agent show, there was loads. You could buy a team, and there were some cracking players in there. Well, that's where I
Chelsea will
think,
probably do it.
well, this is where I think PIF will, with the Saudi Arabian teams, they'll be all over it, especially the older ones. It's going to be interesting. I don't want James Ward-Prowse. Must be better players available. No disrespect to him. Yeah, exactly. By GSM. I think it's been ASM or something. But James Ward-Prowse definitely, I think, is now off the list. I think we've got bigger things in our sights.
I think he'll go to West Ham.
Yeah, I think that's a very good signing for West Ham when Declan Rice leaves.
I think it's the way Moyes plays. I think
Yeah.
whether if Antonio stays at West Ham, which is debatable at the minute, I think Moyes will go out and buy another tall centre forward, and you put Ward-Prowse in there and just tell Ward-Prowse to ping balls. I think he'll end up there.
Yeah.
Million. So
I agree.
I think he was in pot 3, no Euro.
Yeah, because obviously we know about the pots, don't we? Right, next one. This one for you, Gary. Newcastle have a sight set on 29-year-old forward Milik, who could sign for as little as $7 million. Now, this could be the third backup striker to take over the Chris Wood role. He's similar, which gives us Isaac, Wilson, and him, 3 very different strikers, all do different things, and it brings in options. And for $7 million, to have someone with Champions League experience as well, played at a high level, I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the free transfer.
Yeah.
About £7 million.
His best season was something like 20, 25 or 28 goal contributions, and it was only 2 years ago. And obviously better strikers have come in and kind of knocked him down the pecking order. But the ability's still there, and I think he's a good person to have as an option.
See, what I want is, might not be the best thing with Champions League, but I'm happy with our 2, Isaac and Wilson. right? I was hoping for a young striker. Like,
Yeah, there is that. But Isaac's a young striker though, so why not?
Yeah.
And we've got like
But
Koal and that when you
I'm
go
on
further back.
Mm.
I'm on about like somebody who he could learn off these two, not a guy who's
Right, yeah, I
gonna
get what you mean.
play the odd game. And I'd be shocked if we bought him because I don't think it's what they're after.
Really? I think it's a no-brainer.
I get why people want him because it's £7 million. He's played Champions League, played Juventus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's played for one of the best teams around. So, but how often is he going to play? I mean, I know we're playing more often. I know Wilson gets injured and that. I get that, but he's not going to. If Isaac needs a break, it's Wilson coming in. It's not him coming in. So I think a young striker to feed off these two would be what I would go. That's the way I would go.
Well, what I'm thinking is a lot of the times, if we sell ASM and there's that left side, he doesn't want to drop Isaac, he doesn't want to drop Wilson, he might play them two. Then you look at the bench, we don't have a striker. And that's where I think he would then sit quite well as a third option because there could only be two of the options on the pitch.
He brings something different in forward because he's quite a tall player and he uses his head, scores with his head a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking. He's basically Chris Wood's replacement.
Yeah, a version of Chris Wood.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking this then is if you're going for him, why not just go to West Ham and go come have Antonio?
Because Antonio's the wrong side of 30 now for me.
And he's similar in a way to Wilson. Like Millic's different to Wilson, he's different to Isa.
I tell you what, if it comes down to him or Antonio, I think
probably go
Antonio.
Yeah, Premier.
Because I think he'd want a physical, experienced Premier League player than him. Now
depends on the feet as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just
you want to get Antonio for 7.
What we've got to remember as well is that Callum Wilson's 31 now.
Yeah.
And now is bringing a 29-year-old in at £7 million a good idea right now. I mean, like, it's all opinions, isn't it? Where, like, that's why I'm thinking as a young striker better, just in case Wilson does pull up and this young striker can learn off these two. I'm not on about like a raw striker. I'm on about somebody who's
I get that.
Got talent, you know. And
I can take it.
Like, who can I use as an example? Broja at Chelsea.
Yes.
Right? Somebody like that. But I could take you. Somebody like Broja at Chelsea. Somebody who has been out on loan somewhere, has scored some goals, has come back, hungry, wants to learn. That's what I would go for, someone like that. Yeah. What's an option?
There is Osserman is I just think we're linked there because we've got money, even though we can't afford him. And it's just to try and bump the wages up and bump his price up. I don't think it's ever going to happen. ASM Mepin is not leaving. His words are being taken totally out of context. Remember, he's not English. He's also talking about his season. He's a player that can do things no other can do. And Chris, it's like I say, he splits the fans' opinions. He's 50-50 for me. Don't know that one, to be honest with you. Do you know that one?
That's not a bad show.
Go on.
Right, that's the guy Coventry said.
Coventry? I haven't watched enough of Championship football. He
scored, I think he scored about 22 goals last season for Coventry, right?
I think I have seen his name mentioned now.
He's a hard working striker. Do I think he can do it in the Premiership? I don't know. I've seen some West Ham fans wanting West Ham to go for him.
Really?
So I haven't seen loads about him, but I've seen a little. And he isn't a bad player. Whether he's Premiership standard or Champions League, that's debatable.
That's the risk, isn't it?
But it's a risk because
he could have been a pot-free player.
He wasn't. Craig Bellamy wasn't Premiership standard. So, but that's what I thought at the time. And then he came in and started demolishing Inter Milan. You know what I mean? So you just don't know. So it's like, but it's not a bad shout that. And I think they've been on about him going. I can't remember if he's got 1 year left or his contract's run out or something like that. There's some
Probably
he's
would have
gonna
stayed
go.
if they got Premier League football, but
Yeah,
we haven't. So.
He would have stayed, but he's going now. So
Interesting.
not bad shout.
Right, before we go on to the next one, please consider hitting that subscribe button, guys. If you're enjoying the show, it's the first time you've watched this channel, hit the thumbs up. Really does help. It's massive. There is an option to become a member for 99p. The link is at the top of the chat, and you get into a prize draw that we do once a month. We try and give away the best prizes we possibly can. Shea Given signed goalkeeper top was last month. This month it's a Peter Beardsley signed photograph. It's quite a big one as well. And if you'd like to donate tonight, anything's welcomed. Bottom right hand corner, hit the $sign and donate what you can if you want to. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, Dire Crew Shop. Some of their stuff's amazing. Please go and check their socials below in the description and consider purchasing a t-shirt from them. And the final one is for Benfield FC, Benfest, the 29th to the 30th of July. It's an amazing bank holiday weekend with lots of tribute bands on. If you love your music and love a beer, that's the place to be that weekend. So please consider that as well. Quick one in the chat, Danos just got replaced for Brighton and back up to be perfect, did he? Oh, there we go. So obviously we know of him. Ekateke seemed full of himself to me. Yeah, I mean, Ekateke is one of those ones, isn't he? Don't want eat a tea cake. A lot of people have said that, to be fair, but the second chances, to be fair. Right. So this guy's almost a done and dusted deal, and it looks like he's literally going to be straight out on loan. I don't know a lot about him. I put some stats up about him. He's obviously very young. He's left-footed. He can play on the right wing. So Eddie Howe likes that, the inverted right winger. He's going to be an interesting talent, Gary.
He's very skillful. He's quick. He needs to sort his end product out because it's not there at the minute, but that will come. I think we could have a very, very good football on my hands here. And I've just had visions of him and Kowal. Yeah. Kowal on the left, him on the right, and the two of them. And from what I've seen of him, he's, how could I describe him as? A bit like Luwalawa,
Yeah, I can see that.
But he needs to sort his end product out because it's not there at the minute. But,
he is rapid as well, to be fair. He is rapid.
The fans love him. Love him. And I'm just a big fan of buying the youngsters in. I really am. I think it's something that, I've been seeing it because our youth system has been so bad. This is a massive way to get round FFP. By buying young potential in that you could develop and turn into 40, 50 million pound player. And from what I've seen of him, he looks a very, very good talent.
Yeah, I'm excited by him. Another one we're excited about, Nick, is this guy, the Turkey Messi. It's got a little bit quiet on him, but we were told his parents have been over to Newcastle. They spoke to Shola and everyone who's involved. There's only a couple of clubs leading the race, and the other one's Barcelona. So, that's a big club to be battling with.
Well, I've got some stiff competition.
Just a tad. But this is the route we want to be going down, isn't it? Getting these young players in as quickly as possible. Doesn't affect FFP. And if he's anywhere near as an inch as good as Messi, we've got another fantastic young player on our hands.
Get them in, get them loaned out, get them trained up, and then get them back in.
Right. Exactly.
Obviously, more experienced, better players ready for.
He's only 16 as well, so he's got plenty of years ahead of him to get ready for it.
Who was this?
The Gula, the Turkish Messi. Oh, is he? I thought he was 16.
No, Gula's playing for the first team at the minute.
He is playing for the first team, definitely.
Yeah, they're calling him the best prospect they've seen in Turkey for years.
I will go.
And
I've had some good players
from what I've seen of him, Mensah looks quality. This kid looks next level. So they're even saying that, it might be early, they're even saying this kid could be, Ballon d'Or potential.
Really?
That's why Real Madrid and Barcelona are watching him. Now, I'm hoping our names just not getting mentioned because we've got our names that seem to get mentioned.
Our name was mentioned with definitive places his parents have visited.
Yeah.
It's just whether we can nearly signature or not.
He is, well, like I said, I've only briefly saw him. I didn't have a clue about him a few weeks ago. Then I watched him a bit. He runs like Messi. He's got strength like Messi. They try to knock him off the ball, you can't do it.
That just shows you how good he is, isn't it? The Turkey team are building their team around him.
Yeah, he's future, like I think he's future Ballon d'Or potential. Now, the players we've been linked with, like the Mensa and stuff like that, quality, this guy's next level. If we can pull this one off, well, put it this way, we could have somebody. And we could have somebody for now, never mind 3 years down the road. He could, you know what I'd say, Garnacho, that's it. He's gone, Garnacho is obviously going to start for Man United at times next year. I think he could do it.
Really?
Exactly.
I love it. Right, this man, Sabozlia, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Lots of information on him. A lot of information from certain places. Obviously, we've got someone who knows the deal quite well. Newcastle have been sent an offer to RB Leipzig to Dominik Sabozlia with 62 million. Think the offer is enough, but holding out until another club moves in. This decision will be made on Friday morning. Very, very interesting information from Zach. But then I got another message saying the post from, because it was in a different group, we have launched a bid and expect some information end of this week, early next week. However, I'm hearing the fee is less with more installments. So what we're trying to do, obviously has a buyout clause, 70 million euros. We're trying to basically not pay the buyout clause, paying installments instead. We might end up paying a bigger fee or a less fee because you might not be worth 70 million euros. But we are trying to broker a deal. We don't want to pay everything up front because it's not good for FFP when you do that. Gary, what's your thoughts on? I mean, Sabozia for us is a just get him in.
He's my number one target.
Yeah,
I am desperate for them to sign this one because, my God, I mean, are you seeing some of the goals he's scored?
Yeah,
yeah, unbelievable. And when somebody comes around and is just gonna, you'll pay the fee just to watch that player. He is one of them.
Reminds me of Kabay when he hits the ball. You can hit it from distance anyway.
I mean, Bruno's the hero amongst kids, but this lad could push Bruno, man. Because by the looks of it, what they're trying to do is maybe they're going to say something like, look, we'll pay you more than the release clause when he hits a certain amount of goals or something. Maybe they're trying to do something like that. Maybe on Champions League appearances or anything like that. Because, I mean, do you know what it is? Bloody FFP. Because you know what it is? PIF would just go, oh, he has the 70 million pound, can buy him. You know what it is? And honestly, what more can you say about him? Liverpool have been looking at him, you name it. Other teams have been looking at him. He is some player, and he is my number one target. He's Champions League quality, everything. You name it, he's got it.
Love it. I'm absolutely on it. Nick, what about you?
Same as Gary. I'd love to see him in a Newcastle shirt. Hell of a player. I don't watch the German league every week, but I've seen him play a few times. He's a fucking hell of a player.
He scored in the final as well, didn't he?
Well, what a way to go out, do you know what I mean? Scoring in the final to win your team the cup in the last game.
He was crying. It looked like he was saying goodbye as well, didn't he?
A few weeks, you whip a tune top on.
I love it.
Right. Somebody's just got mentioned in the comments in there who's my second target.
Go on then, who was it?
Gabriel Veiga.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him. I haven't got a picture of him, but he's the next one. Veiga, is he coming or is he not, Gary? That's the problem. It's everyone thought he was. It would heat it up, and then within 48 hours, it kind of died.
I hope I'm wrong, but I've got a feeling this might be agent tag in Spain. On Madrid fans.
Madrid winded up
taking the
Barca
mick out
because
of
Barca won,
Barcelona.
don't they? Yeah.
You know what it is? You know what it is? I think this deal would happen tomorrow. He's got a 40 million euro release clause. Newcastle would activate that right now, I reckon.
Yeah.
They would have no doubt they would just go out and do that one.
Well, they can't do it until the window opens, can they? That's the thing.
He scored 2 goals at the weekend against Barcelona. And I don't know, I just think he might end up somewhere just too high for us. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see him here. I mean, God, whoever buys him is getting a snip for that price. Because he does look like a tad down. I mean, he's Spanish, isn't he? Argentinian or something. I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember now. Argentinian.
Well, put it this way, he's gonna have number of caps. Whoever, because he's a talent. What more can you see? And he's going to be a talent for a good price.
He really is. Better than Bellingham. That's a statement.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Mate, look at it this way. English players get they get hyped up, don't they? And yeah, Bellingham is. I mean, Real Madrid wouldn't be after Bellingham if he wasn't up to standard. But I get where you're coming from, because English players do get overhyped, and Conor Gallagher was the best thing since sliced bread a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Now we couldn't hit a ball door in the championship. So it's like,
love it.
There's so many good players out there at the minute. I mean, it's just crazy, honestly. And we're getting linked with them.
This one, I can't remember mentioning anything about Jack Clark myself. Have we mentioned Jack Clark coming to us? We mentioned about Rigg coming to us, the young lad from Sunderland, but not Jack Clark. Is that Jack Clark from Sunderland? Isn't it?
Yeah, Jack Clark's going to, well, he's had bids from Brentford, West Ham, and somebody else in the Premiership.
Yeah, I can't remember us ever being linked with him.
I don't think we've been in for
or mentioned him, but definitely Chris Rigg, isn't it?
Chris Rigg's the one.
Yeah, the young 16-year-old who's at Sunderland, or just about to turn 16, hasn't signed his professional contract yet. And we're rumoured to, because obviously he's a Geordie, his dad's a Newcastle fan, we're meant to be going and nicking their best player. That's the information we got, but nothing about Jack Clark, I'm afraid. Tillemans, Maddison, this has gone a little bit quiet again, obviously, and Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes would be someone who I think would fit in our system very well. After talking to Ant, the Leicester fan, though, he's basically not a fan of Barnes. He says he's lazy. But the goals he scored for a team that got relegated is unbelievable. Same with Maddison. Between them, they probably scored half the goals that Leicester scored and created, to be fair. Obviously, Tottenham got a new manager now. Are we worried about missing out on these players, or are we like kind of, if we get them, we get them. If we don't, we don't? What do you think, Gary?
Yeah, I'm at that stage now with these guys. I can't believe I'm saying that. Maddison was one of my number one targets.
Yeah, he was mine as well.
But
I think he was most people's a few months ago.
Exactly. If he doesn't want to come, then if you didn't want to come to a Champions League team and you'd prefer to go to a club that's fallen a bit in Tottenham, that are potentially going to use Harry Kane, let him get on with it, honestly. And you know, if I had to, I could be wrong here, but you know, if I had to put me money on who I think would rather come, it's Harvey Barnes right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's just something about James Maddison at the minute. I'm not even convinced he wants to come, from what I've heard. Yeah. And we've heard things. Like that he does, but we've also heard that he does. And he wants to stay in London. I mean, you can get a bloody helicopter to London in 50 minutes.
Especially my there on.
I drive longer to pick me bloody kids up on a Friday night. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, give a one. It's like, I don't know, just something. Could be wrong. See what happens when the window opens. But I don't think we'll sign both.
If you'd rather stay in London than like play Champions League football and live in Newcastle, then
There's some strange people out there. Once they've had the London lights, it seems to stick in their eyes, doesn't it? It's
I don't get it, mate. Like, London hasn't got a quayside or the strawberry bar.
Yeah, for us it's very simple, but for people outside in Newcastle, they just don't get it. I would love Eze, but we're not going to be able to afford him and pull him out of Palace. I think he signed a new contract, to be honest with you. Nick, this one, Bruce, much would like to bid farewell to Marcus Thuram Newcastle amongst several European clubs linked with the free agent. We're also after his brother. Do you think we can land either one of them, or again, is it one of those ones? If we get them, we get them. If we don't, we don't.
I think it's a case. I think that's the case with most players now. If we get them, we'll get them. If we don't, we don't. If we don't get our first choice, it's going to be 10 backups. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm just looking forward to see who we sign. Like, I'm listening to all the rumours, but I'm not really taking them in. I'm just waiting for the summer, because there'll be a lot of surprises.
Oh yes, I still
players
think
we've never even been linked with, players never heard of. We could go and get bloody Benzema and Messi, or I'm not saying we will, but
I would love it.
There's going to be surprises.
I think Benzema's the best one to go for. We'll come to that soon. Right. Here's an update from one of the sources that we haven't read out yet. And again, take it with a pinch of salt, because at the moment the club are using social media accounts, especially on Twitter, to put out names to fool everyone. And some of the names in this are incredible, and I can't see most of them, to be honest with you. But so apparently Levy has offered Kane to us for 120 million, but we've told Tottenham to fuck off because they're trying to block the takeover. I don't think we'll go for Harry Kane anyway. Cucurella is another name that we haven't mentioned for a while. Talks are ramping up. As believed, Ugota is going to PSG. I'm devastated about that, I would love him. Apparently, Rashford's agent is offering him around. So obviously something not quite right at Man United potentially. But again, I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah, exactly.
I love him, but...
Well, he's not someone we're apparently interested in. I mean, it's probably off the cards. It's probably just his agent trying to get him a better wage or something like that. It wouldn't surprise me.
That would be trying to get a better contract.
Yeah, exactly. Diaby deal is still very much on. Piff always go back Eddie for his top targets. They have full trust in him, picking players he wants and happy to back him with the money. So Diaby is still a massive option that we haven't mentioned for a while. And he has gone quiet, to be fair, but we would all love Diaby. And I think if Diaby comes, that is definitely the exit door for ASM, to be completely honest with you. Is it next week the window opens? Yeah, 14th, isn't it?
Aye.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Eddie Howe was second on the list, and that, look how it's worked out. That is true. Nick, I'm with you. That's why we travel up to the Toon so much from the Midlands. Exactly, that's why she does. What do you think of Piff buying for Saudi clubs? We talked about that at the start of the show. We think it's great for the club. Love Diaby, definitely. Wouldn't deal with Man U, even George Best was in his prime. Even if George Best was in his prime, of course he would. That should be good fit at Spurs if Kane goes abroad. I love that. Right, let's have a look at the current squad and see what you guys think. So this is the goalkeepers at the moment. So we've got Dubs, Gillespie, Karius and Pope. So Nick, I'll come to you on this on the first one. Keep 2, get rid of 2.
Keep Pope, keep Karius, get rid of Dubs and Gillespie.
Gary?
Keep Pope, keep Dubs, get rid of the other 2.
Now, I agree with Gary. And the only reason why I agree with him is apparently Karius' wife is pregnant and she doesn't want to move to England. So I can't.
Heard something about her not wanting to move because she's a TV star now in Italy.
Yeah. So I can't see Karius staying for that reason only. I think he would, but for the circumstances of family life, Darlow, did I not put Darlow in there? No, I didn't, did I? Darlow does come back from his loan. I forgot about him. But again, I wouldn't keep Darlow either.
I think Hull want to put a bid in for Darlow because he's had a good loan. Exactly.
So Pope and Dubs for me. But again, I have heard rumours of Forster coming back. Forster? How do you pronounce his name?
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard that.
And that's because he's homegrown and can also be part of that and he'd be a number 2. And I think he would come back as a number 2 because that's what he is at Spurs, isn't it?
Aye.
So
Yeah.
I think he
Well,
would do
last
that.
few games he was getting the.
He was getting
was
number one
start running.
but they're gonna sign a new goalkeeper.
I tell you what, I think they need to sign 2 goalkeepers.
Yeah.
If they're going to get rid of
Probably.
Forster, Lloris is going. So
Unless they've got, I think
What
I've also
was their
heard
budget
rumours
gonna go
they're
to?
after the Leeds goalkeeper as well, Mencia.
I tell you what, you know what I think Tottenham are going to sign?
Go on.
Jordan Pickford.
Possibly.
Seems like a Tottenham goalkeeper.
Right.
Shite.
Well, it's interesting. It's an interesting one, but Pickford is a very good goalkeeper. I know we hate him because he's a Mackham, but you can't doubt his talent, especially when he's playing for England. But he's a wanker. Right, defenders. We've got Ashby, Botman, Byrne, Dummett, Kraft, Lascelles, Lewis, Mankiwa, Ritchie, Shaw, Target, Trippier. I don't know why they put Ritchie in there, but they did put him as a defender. Now let's just say we're going to be signing a left back and a centre back for definite. So out of that list, Nick, who are you selling, and who do you want to see in the squad instead? Out of the players we talked about.
Obviously, keep Ashby, Botman, Byrne. Dummett is staying. I'd keep Kraft. I'd get Lascelles out, get someone in for him.
Mm-hmm.
Ritchie's going to the academy, and he
I hope so.
Possibly like the coaching and shit like that. Obviously, Target, Trip, Shaw, keep them. Keep Actually, sell Mankiwa and sell Lewis.
I was going to say you're getting too many
I
defenders.
was
You've
looking-
also
I
got to
was-
get 2 in as well. So you've got to get a left back in, and you've got to get a.
I was counting me numbers there. That's why. So
who
sell
would
the
you-
middle three. Lascelles, Lewis, and Mankiwa.
Yeah, I would also consider probably getting rid of
Target
Target
over
as
Kraft.
well.
Like sell Target over Kraft.
Yeah, potentially. Then who do you want in to fill the places?
Whoever Eddie Howe decides.
Now, who do you want?
Who?
So out of the players we've talked about, Tablibo, Kim, and you've got Teenery.
The one from Nice, Kaliba, however you say his name.
Yeah. And who you have for the
Who
left
else we
back?
can talk about?
Left back.
For us.
Teenery and
Tierney for left back.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
Just 2 positions need to be filled. What about you, Gary? Who are you getting rid of?
Right. Ashby cannot keep sitting on the bench doing nothing, so he needs to go on loan. Right.
Do you think so? Do you not think
No.
he's covered
Yeah.
for trips though?
Nah, I don't, because I think Kieran Tierney will come in and he'll be covered for trips on the right. Can Taribo play right back?
It's centre back as far as I'm aware.
Right. Well, look, I think Ashby might go on loan. Right. Botman, Byrne are staying. Dummett's staying because of the
ruling.
you need homegrown players. I've heard about that. I kind of see him getting rid of Kraft because he can play right back and left back. Lascelles, they've already said it's away. That got confirmed tonight. Lewis will be away. Manquillo will be away. Ritchie, I think, is probably going into coaching side. Shaw will stay, obviously. Trippier will stay, and I think Target will be away.
And who do you want in?
I would get Kieran Tierney in, just purely based on the fact that I just hope he stays fit. Plus, he can play right back and left back. Centre back, like I said, throw the dice for them too. I would pick any of them. I'm edging towards Kim purely based on the fact that I've seen more of him. But
Yeah, he is good. The only problem is he's a left centre back, so that moves Botman to right centre back and him to left centre back potentially.
Botman can use both feet.
Oh, of course he can.
And the but you know what it is? I'm starting to think his target worth $100,000 a week, not for me. So, because that's what he's on. So, I'll be tempted to send Target out. Maybe get into that young player like Ashby, and then you can keep Ashby and then just send him on, maybe something like that. But
if Ashby is good as we thought he was, and the West Ham fans think he is,
yeah.
or said he was, then he needs to step up, doesn't he? Really,
Yeah.
in my eyes, don't think he goes out on loan.
I think he's a good player. I think he's a very good player. And West Ham fans have said he's a quality player. The only problem I've got is Eddie Howe hasn't put him in yet.
Yeah.
Now, at Chelsea, put Lewis Miley in.
Mm.
So
That's true.
Eddie? You know what Eddie's like? Eddie's one of these. He won't put Bruno in until he's ready. So he clearly thinks Lewis Miley's ready to step up, but he doesn't think Ashby's ready to step up. So
yeah, he did bring a lot of other players on, didn't he, instead of him, which is a bit
and he
strange.
didn't bring Ashby on. I thought Ashby might have started at Chelsea, but so maybe he's not ready yet.
Yeah,
Send him out alone until January, bring him back.
Yeah, why not? And that was a really bad injury to Kraft, and we've got to see how he comes back from that injury as well, because he could be a different player, doesn't it? So
it all depends. He could have lost pace or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't have a bum
well before his injury.
He was playing, that's what I mean. He was playing well before it, but that kind of injury can take a yard of pace off you. It can play with your mind. You're just going to have to wait and see how he returns, because he might not return as good as what he was. We'll just have to wait and see. It's happened to players in the past. Right, midfielders. So I don't know why it's got Miggy in there. He should be a forward, but this is just going purely off the website that I was on. So you've got Miggy, Anderson, Bruno, Jolinton, Matty Longstaff, Sean Longstaff, Miley, Murphy, and Willock. And Murphy again should be in the other section. Nick, same as before. Obviously, we know Matt Longstaff's going. I don't know why. I was tempted not to put him in there, but we know he's not going to get a contract. The only way he'll get offered a contract is if he still hasn't finished his rehabilitation, so he can find another club, because the Newcastle aren't going to throw him out on the streets. They are going to get him back to full fitness before he finds himself a new club, which is really good of them to do that. But there's a lot of strong players in there. I mean, personally, I wouldn't get rid of any. What are your thoughts?
Just obviously Matty, if he can find another club, and possibly maybe loan Anderson out again, and Miley, or one of the two, Anderson or Miley, loan them out.
The problem is, though, again, you need them for the registration for Champions League.
Oh, aye.
So it's a difficult one, because I'll be on the same sort of thing. Anderson's not getting enough game time. He probably needs a loan. Miley could probably use a loan.
They're not both going to get enough game time. Do you know what I mean?
So it's.
But if we need them there for the numbers. But then if you're saying we might get Fraser Forster back and stuff like that, depends what happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because if he came back, you could essentially loan one of them out. Potentially.
Who would you add to the mix there? So this is in the midfield three for me. So you could probably really look at taking Miggy out of that and Murphy out of that, because they shouldn't really be in this section. They should be in the forward section. Who would you like to add to the mix?
So Bosley, however you pronounce his name.
It's pretty close.
Not me list.
Defensive midfield is kind of the one that we don't really. We've only got Bruno, who plays that role. I know Sean Longstaff slips into it, but he's a better 8. So we need
someone. Go for like a Kante or Rabiot. Someone like that.
And he's going to be off to Saudi.
Is he going to Saudi, is he?
I think so.
And that Rabiot, he's got quite high wages, hasn't he? But he's a decent player.
Yeah, he is. It's interesting.
Naby Keita from Liverpool. I know he didn't do much at Liverpool, but when he was in Germany, he was a decent little player.
He was. There's Lavia at Southampton as well, who's probably, for me, Southampton's better player to Nick. Tillemans is still a free. There's a lot of options there. It all depends on what you really fancy, to be fair.
I've got one out the left field that I noticed I just thought it was funny. Jose Perez. We'll sell him for 30 million, bring him back for now, and then sell him again, make a bit more money off him.
Is he actually going on a free?
Aye, I seen an article the other day. Apparently he wanted to return to us last season, when we were on the up and Leicester were on the down.
Wow. Yeah,
and it just got thinking, I wouldn't want him myself, don't get us wrong, but it would be funny to see. He was an alright little player forward.
He was at times. He went through purple patches, didn't he? But yeah, Orfa Mello might be available. Savic as well. Obviously, he was mentioned a while ago, and he's not come on the horizon recently. Savic would be a quality player for us. I know Jan in the chat would love Savic at Newcastle. What about you, Gary? Who would you, obviously Matt is coming out. You're not really getting rid of anybody else, but who do you want to add to the quality that we need to?
Obviously, Miggy, Murphy, they're our wingers, right? So Anderson, I've just got a feeling Anderson's going to start playing his regular position next season, which is on the wing. So
I think so. I think he's a left winger.
Yeah. So that leaves you with Bruno, Joe Linton, Sean, Miley, and Willock. None of them are a CDM, a number 6. So that's what we need. And I would go for. I mean, look, these are just players I would go for. I don't know if I can pull it off, but Pepper and Tura or Casado.
Honor is not a bad shot either from Everton.
Nope.
Honor.
I wouldn't rule Coney out either.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need. We need it. Casado's. Look, I know Casado didn't have the best game up here, but he was playing a bloody right back. Put him in the middle of our park, right?
Casado's fantastic, but you've seen the price.
He would. I know exactly. That's why I'm saying it's out of left field. But he would free Joe Linton and Bruno up.
Yeah, Casado's something like 90 million, unfortunately.
I know. That's who I would go for. I would go for Tura. Liverpool, I think with him, I think they're getting, but we've been talking to him apparently, just like we've been talking to Coney and stuff like that. So I just think we need a tough tackler in midfield.
Yeah, irons in the fire. Right, we'll go for the forward. So it's got Fraser, Gordon, Isaac, ASM, and Wilson. Obviously, you can add Murphy and Miggy into there as well, and potentially Anderson. Nick, obviously, Fraser is being banished to the under-23s. He's not going to play for the first 11. He won't be in the squad next season. The 4 that are on the screen underneath him will be, but who do you add to it?
Do you know who I'd like to see? Asensio.
Yeah, he's off to Villa, though, isn't he?
No, he's going to PSG.
Oh, he's at PSG.
Oh, he's going to PSG.
He's having a medical at PSG.
That's really good, that, like.
Yeah, he's really good.
I think Thuram would be an alright shout, or Milik, like you were saying earlier.
John says, would you sign Ekateke if he became available?
No.
No, he turned with down last season. I know it was to go to like the best club in France, but he messed with about last season.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
And I guarantee he's regretting it now.
I wouldn't sign him because he spat his dummy out the Premier out like that. I just wouldn't sign him because he's not as good as I thought he was.
Yeah, there is that as well. He's missed some sitters. He's missed some open nets.
Yeah, he looks. When I've watched him, I don't think he's a Premiership player.
No.
Honestly, I don't think he's strong enough. We could change him, right? We could put him in the gym and just like put some muscle on him or something, but he is not strong enough. It's knocked off the ball. And he's missed some bloody sitters, no? Mate, when you put that list up there, I think ESM's away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it does look like it, doesn't it?
I mean, I would include Sabloski in that section.
In the forward section?
So, yeah.
I would have played him in the 3.
Well,
it's the 8.
I thought he was like a midfielder. Like attack.
I think he can do both.
Yeah.
Not forward, I mean, like, that side. You could even... Because it's funny that, because Miggy was in the midfield bit, but you had Gordon in the forward bit.
I know, it's honestly, it's off a website. I can't remember which website I used, but I just typed in Newcastle full squad and that's where they put them, and I was looking at them going, this is wrong. But,
I mean, I see the forwards are funny because I think he's happy with Isaac and Wilson, but it's not enough. So
I think he's another striker, and he's also thinking right. I think right wing is the place where we're missing. So you've got the likes of Maddison, Barnes, you've got Diaby. There's all these quality players you can add to the mix. It's who would you really want?
I think he might be thinking potentially the Man City way of right. If Wilson and Isaac are injured or unfit, have we got the wingers to come in like the Pep used to do? He used to play Foden, Silva, and it was he didn't have a striker. He used to I can't remember the other one. He used to
false nine.
Yeah. So if you've got wingers who can score goals, then if they get injured and they need a break, maybe he's thinking that way. Because I'm still not convinced we're going to go out and buy an out-and-out striker.
Yeah.
And I think that's the season after. Because I think Wilson will be pushing 32 then, and then these injuries will be kicking in even more. So
yeah,
I think
that's why we should buy a cheap one, like someone like Milik, on like a 2-year contract.
See, that's where I would get a youngster. I would go out and get a hungry youngster who wants to come in and learn from these two, and potentially can come in and just do a job when he's needed. But you got to look at both ways. Look at our experience.
Yeah,
and
true.
Or a youngster could come in more hungry. So it's one of those, isn't it? But I think the forward line's hard because I think we need more the other way. Midfield's our problem. I mean, I know we've got some cracking midfielders, but midfield is where it needs. The injuries proved that at the end of the season.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Mind, I heard a great one the other day. Somebody saying, should we go and get Shelby? And I'm going, please, God, no. Right? And so...
You definitely don't go back.
No, you don't. Especially for somebody who's finished like Shelby, right? So,
yeah, exactly.
Like hit me down with a
Calvin Phillips would be a better option as a defensive midfielder, definitely.
But do you know what it is? Calvin Phillips, right? If you want to stay at Man City and warm the bench, then you buy my best. Because you are not going to play for that team. You are not getting ahead of Rodri. And if he wants to sit and do that, let him get on with it. But
I agree. Kante is close to joining Karim Benzema at Al Ittihad. We pronounce the name, I don't know what it is. But Kante is almost on the move. There was another one that popped up on here. It's all about Pulisic has been told he can leave in the summer as well. A name that we were very much linked with when we first took over. Someone should we consider him again, Nick, or not?
I'd be happy to sign him, like.
Yeah, even with his injury record.
We're saying before, all the American stuff, do you know what I mean? You get all the American fans through that, so you're making more money off it, regardless of what he does.
I think we get that just by doing the tour, though.
But you'd get even more, wouldn't you, having one of the hot, young American players there?
Yeah, I wouldn't like Sterling.
I think he'd do a job for it. Pulisic, not Sterling.
Yeah, Sterling, no. Kante is off to Saudi Arabia, so it's a no. Sterling was probably the best player for Chelsea against us, but the wrong side of 30 now, isn't he? He's hit 30. It's just not the player I would sign.
Yeah, I remember when he fit. That makes me feel old. I remember when he come through. It's like an 18-year-old.
Yeah, I remember it as well. I remember Walcott coming through. Watching him play for Southampton. Crazy.
I don't know. Chelsea are just a club. I'm not sure I would go anywhere near right now. I don't care who they are. I just think the players have dropped off so bad. Yeah, they could go off. Pulisic could go off and have a cracking career somewhere else. I think he needs to go abroad. I think he needs to go back to Germany or somewhere like that. When I watched Chelsea at Man United, there was only one player that stood out in that game for them, and that was that left back Lewis Hall.
Oh yeah, he was brilliant as well. Yeah. But I thought Sterling was their biggest danger on the day.
Yeah. And I just, you know what it is? It's funny how times change, because Pulisic I would have took 8 months ago. Now I would. Funny how times change, honestly.
Yeah. No, it is. It's crazy. And
like I mentioned, everyone's top target, and now ask people if they want Madison. It's like, well, take them or leave them. 6 months in January, everyone was like, want him now, get him now. James Madison. But now it's cooled down a bit.
This is brilliant. So I've turned on notifications for some big accounts, right? And it started off with the N'Golo Conte one with Gerard Romero. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He tweeted out Then Madrid Extra tweets it out. Then Romaro tweets it out, and then Transfer News Live tweets it out straight after one after another. It just shows you that it comes from one place, and then all the big accounts follow each other and just tweet each other's crap out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So funny.
Oh, that's great, man. Watching, but I don't know. Chelsea just
Those names, McTominay and Gallagher, were both smokescreens for other names. We were never in for McTominay. We were never in for Gallagher. Just putting out names to put people off who we're actually going for. Has Chris Wood's move to Forest become permanent now? Not until the window opens on the 14th. But yes, it will when the window opens. All the obligations.
That got announced. That got announced 2 days ago.
They can announce it now, but it won't be official till the 14th, until the window opens, you see.
Yeah.
But it was done when he reached all the targets, and we knew that in the, how many games did he play for them? 5 or something, and that was it.
Something like that.
Yeah, something stupid.
Ridiculous. It was a ridiculous bloody...
It was great for us. We weren't complaining, were we?
I remember when I heard it and it said he's now hit the obligation.
Yeah.
And I went, what, after 3 games? I said, how did Ashworth manage that one?
Just legendary.
Bizarre, honestly.
Legend move. They've done brilliantly to get Shelby and Wood off our books in January. Considering what they've done. I mean, to be fair, Chris Wood scored against Man City and got them a point, so it wasn't too bad, was it?
West Ham are supposed to be like thinking about me in a bit.
Go on.
I'm surprised at this because I wasn't sure they would be willing to sell it. Brennan Johnson.
Oh, I would love that.
I know, that's what I was thinking. I'm thinking.
He's another name that's not been mentioned much, isn't it?
Yeah. When they got announced they were staying up, I thought Johnson will be staying. And then I heard a rumour saying that West Ham were going to make a bid. And I thought, hold on. They had noises that Johnson wants to go or he's available or something like that. Because have Forest got close to the FFP a bit?
Oh, they must be.
More than likely.
Yeah.
But they can't get rid of him.
A bit of money.
But getting rid of him is suicidal.
How many players did sign last season? 20?
More than that. Yeah. It was like 25, I think. It was close to a full squad. I love Brendan Johnson. Yeah, hopefully if someone's going to go in for him, we've got to be all over that. He fits our system perfectly with the age and everything. So, thoughts about Sadio Mane? I would take him. Would you guys take him?
Aye, but he's meant to be going to Saudi.
Oh, there we go. There's another one off there. I don't know.
But he could end up with them then anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Could end with him on loan. Would you
could
take
end up with bloody any of them, yeah.
Would you take him, though? That's the question. Would you take him?
Sadio Mane?
No. Really?
No.
I would as a short-term option.
We were talking 2 years ago. But
different class.
I think Ali McCoy said the same thing on TalkSport. He says Newcastle are building a project.
Yeah,
and players like Mane, Messi, Ronaldo, for me, keep away. It's not what you're building. And he's adamant, him. Neymar, nah. It's not what you're building.
Without a doubt, we're definitely going nowhere near players like that. We can't afford to.
I mean, when I think of players like that, who's the one player I would take? What a class in that bracket is. Like,
Luka Modric.
Not a bad shout, actually.
For his age, he's still a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Benzema for me.
Anything off the top of my head. Benzema.
Yeah. I think he's still got the hunger, the quality to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, they can if they want to, Sean, but I don't think they will. Messi's the nostalgia one, isn't it? It's which we want to see Messi, but for someone who can fit into the Premier League, Benzema for me would do it because he's still at a decent age. And
he hasn't been in the Prem yet, so...
Exactly. Just for one season. And he would fill that gap as the third striker as well. I suppose he'd be the number one striker to win me.
What you need is, as much as Ronaldo gets slated, when he come back, the first time, when he came back that season, he was bloody good for Man United. Right? He scored goals left, right and centre, and it didn't look like he'd been away. So, as long as it's a short-term thing,
It would be a season loan, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and look, I would say Messi. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see Messi.
I would love to see Messi.
Honestly, it's not gonna happen, but I would love to see that for 6 months.
Brilliant.
Honestly, it'd be great.
I would love Messi at Newcastle, just so I can see I've seen him play live. It'd actually be hard to get tickets, wouldn't it? Right, that's the end of the show. I hope you've really enjoyed it. Lots of players we've talked about how the squad might look going forward. Now they've got 20 goals in the pool, Man United team, but it was all about him, though, wasn't it? Which we don't want at Newcastle, do we? Don't forget, hit that subscribe button on the way out if you're new to the channel and you've enjoyed the show. There'll be more of these in the future. Hit the thumbs up button. Consider becoming a member. It's only 99p. Link is at the top of the chat, and you get entered into a prize draw once a month when we give away as much memorabilia as we can. Thanks, John. Thanks, Facebook user. Great show, chaps. Thanks, Julie. As always, take care. Thank you to everyone who is a member. You know, you really do keep this channel going. It really does help massively. Huge shout out to our sponsor. We don't get any money for this. We just get a prize to give away once a month. So we're going to be giving away one of these t-shirts to a lucky member. So like I say, hit the link at the top to become a member to have a chance. And congratulations to Simon Philip Barker, who won the Nick Pope the Wall t-shirt. We'll get that sent out to you ASAP. It is coming from America, so it takes a few days to get here. But it's a quality prize to win. And don't forget about Benfest. It's 29th to the 30th of July. Tickets are on sale through the club. All the money goes back into the club to help pay for players' wages, buying a new pitch, all this sort of stuff that they need to do. So please consider getting yourself down there. We'll quickly just fly up all the stuff. Thanks, guys. Great stream. Thanks, Flossie. Class crack. Thank you very much, as always. Thanks, everyone. Great show. Hit the like and subscribe. Yeah, thumbs up. Jules gets a bit of a heart. Flossie's in the house with Jules. Flossie, Jules. Love each other. Sean says, good show, lads. Leslie gets a bit of a wave from Flossie. And lovely chat, as always. It was probably the easiest chat to mod, to be fair. But I hope you have all enjoyed it. The reason why there's been no inside scoops at the moment is because of what me and Gary said at the start. Sure, the club are putting out names that aren't true, so we're staying away from it at the moment. We're waiting for the juicy stuff to come. We'll only put stuff out there that we believe in, and that what we've heard from good places. And what we've heard so far is there's a lot of crap out there, but there is some good stuff out there. And, we only want the good stuff. So suppose it is the good stuff.
If people don't know, since the season finished, we have been linked with 132 players.
Yeah, exactly. And we have not mentioned all of them. I can promise you that. We only mention the names that we get told from good places. But there's been, like I say, far too many thrown out there. So we're staying away from the inside scoops until we get closer to the transfer window and we start hearing about the real names. Now, things will get leaked. It'll just be minimum, because the club are on it. As we know, they're not happy about the shirt being released before Friday. Someone's going to be in trouble about that. But it does happen. Things do get out. We've just got to hope it's the stuff that we hear, and we'll let you guys know. Until that all starts, I'll carry on with the daily news when I'm off. I should get one out tomorrow. But please just keep an eye out on the channel, hit the bell button, all that sort of stuff. And we're back on Thursday night to talk through our best moments of the season. So please join us on Thursday for that and have your say on your favourite parts of the season as well. So take care till then, guys, and thanks for tuning in.